Welcome to the Cowboys LA Radio. I'm your host, Eric Trujillo, coming to you with episode number 20. This week, we're in for a rematch against the New York Football Giants, Sunday night, 5:25 at MetLife Stadium. Couple of things for this episode. I'm going to get into Randy Gregory, looking ahead to the Bucks, and talking about something interesting because this podcast is based out of Los Angeles. A lot of Raider fans been approaching me, so a little Raider talk as far as their team and how they'd match up against us if there were to be a Super Bowl matchup between the Cowboys and the Raiders. This is all ifs and buts. But let's start off with the New York Giants. I went back and watched the first game. And that first game, they honestly just shut down the run game. And they did it with four D linemen. They weren't really doing any special blitzing. They would bring up an extra person into the box, but really honestly, it was just the front four. They were penetrating, they were getting push and creating lanes. There was no lanes for Zeke. Now, watching their last game and a couple games throughout the season, overall, defensively, they're still a very good team. I do think that at this point, the loss of JPP, it looks like Harrison is injured as well. And these two injuries alone are huge. They really are. I don't believe that they're going to be able to step up and give the same kind of performance. I do believe Zeke will breach the 100-yard barrier, unlike the last time where he only had 51 yards. So it looks to be like a better game for the Cowboys, and I do think it'll be a victory. The offense will get rolling like it usually has. I do think we'll get at least 24 points on them, 28 points on them. Now, where I'm worried about is on the and then before I move on, Ron Leary was not in week 1. And I think he's definitely the more powerful between the two, between him and Lyle. He's nasty, powerful. I think that, along with the injuries that they have on the defensive line, is going to cause for us to have a nice running game. I don't think we'll be able to pass as much. They still have a very good secondary. They really do, with Eli Apple and Janoris Jenkins, who I thought the Cowboys should have drafted, honestly, way back when, before Mo Claiborne, and kept the second pick, but that's another time, another story. Janoris Jenkins, Thompson from Boise State, who also I liked for the draft for the Cowboys. He's a good player, and of course Landon Collins is a stud as well. I hate to admit that, but Landon Collins is a very good player. And throw in Cromartie. They have a very good secondary, so I find it difficult still for us to have a big game. Unless we have like a broken player or so. Passing game, I don't see it happening. But I do see us winning on the ground with the loss of JPP and even Dak maybe running a touchdown in there. That's my prediction for this game. It's tough to talk about teams that we already played and you kind of know like the back of your hand. And I went back to watch the tape just in case. And I even went back to 2014 to watch the 2 times that we played them. And honestly, unfortunately, we were talking about Randy Gregory. Me and a couple of other Cowboy fans were talking about Randy Gregory during the week, thinking, hey, maybe he's going to be back for week 15, 16. But even if he is back, me personally, I do think that the way Roger Goodell is, he's such a jerk. He's going to wait till the last second. He's going to wait till the day right before he can practice to say, hey, actually, you're suspended for the rest of the year. I do think that's what's going to happen. But let's just say, in hindsight, that they allow him to play, and he can play the last 2 games. I don't expect much from him. Sadly, when I went back and I saw week 1 versus the Giants, before he tweaked his ankle, the rest of the year, they said his ankle was hurting him his rookie season, so I can't really say too much about whether he would have gotten better or not. But that week 1, I just didn't see it. Even on his best plays where he gets around that corner and he bends, he was still late. Eli was still getting the ball out of his hands. And maybe it was the Eli thing, but I guess at this point we're desperate. We would take any kind of edge rush. But sadly, I just even if they let him play, I don't know. I just don't know that Randy could bring that to us, and really, I'm getting to a point where if he doesn't have the talent and he lacks the drive to be a part of this team, maybe it is better for us to cut our losses. I don't know. If you think about him not being able to play this year, being gone next year, that leaves him with just 2018. That'll be the only season he could play for, and that's if he doesn't smoke again and he's allowed to play. So this is very depressing. It's a loss, especially when you take a look around the league and you see teams that have young defensive ends and like tonight, like Khalil Mack or still Von Miller or Noah Spence, who might get into the Bucks. No, it's not like me to really look ahead, but I do see a victory coming this week. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. The loss of JPP may not be the biggest factor. I do think that it will be, but if we win this game, we're gonna lock up first place overall. We will be first place overall. We'd have 3 games left: Bucks, Lions, and Philly. I'm still not. I'm not all in on the Lions. I am gonna watch some more tape on them next couple of days. But I'll tell you what, we're gonna win one of those games. The only team that could catch us if we win on Sunday would be the Seahawks. They'd have to win out, and even if they won out, they would be 12-3-1. So if we won one more game, we would be 13-3. Just one more game, the Eagles, Lions, or the Bucks games, which I think we have the capability to sweep all three, just outright. The Lions lost to the Bears at some point in the season. I know that was a divisional game, but still. And I think we got the Eagles this year. We figured them out. I think we've got their number. And the Bucks. I looked ahead. I just peeked ahead because I said, okay, if we can win this game, we pretty much got it wrapped up, and just one more win would just put the nail in the coffin. Because essentially that tie game that the Seahawks have would essentially be their record would be they would have 12.5 wins and 3.5 losses. So we'd still have 12 wins. 12 if we get that one more victory, 13 wins to their 12.5 wins. So looking at the Bucks, I'm gonna tell you something. Those guys are building a defense out there for real. Starting with their corners, Hargraves and Grimes. Those 2 guys are small, but man, they can cover. Conti's a weakness on the safety. Their safeties are weak. They don't really bring anything. But their linebacking core with Quan Alexander, Levante David, they got Gerald McCoy, Noah Spence and there's a couple of things he's been showing. Can get around the edge. They're building something down there, and that defense can create some problems for us on the passing game. I think we'll be able to run over them, and I think we will get that W. Not just because of that. When I look at their offense, really, they don't have a run game. The run game is a delay run game, and so basically they don't have the blockers to have a run game, so they have to kind of run that fake option, read option, delays. And then James loves to go to Evans, and that's really all he goes to. And Evans is a beast, and he'll just go straight to him for a couple all day. And then the last thing is James can make some tough plays where he hangs in the pocket. He's a big guy, hard to take down, but his accuracy is so off. So long story short, I hate to peek ahead, but I did it because I do think that we are going to come up with this W. We'll come up with another Sunday night W next week, and that'll be it. First place for the Cowboys, first round bye, home field advantage, and wow, it feels good to say that, People have been asking me about the Romo thing, and, I'll say it to today. I still think that Romo is the better QB at this point in his career, but, I'm rolling with it. The coaches made that decision. We're winning. I like Dak. I like his leadership. So we're going to roll with it, and we're going to hope for the best. And, if we get that 1 seed, eventually we could end up out there in Houston versus an AFC team, which the Raiders lost tonight. They took an L to the Chiefs. But I'll tell you what, The reason why I'm even talking about this is because I've already had so many Raider fans come up to me and say, "Oh, you're scared of the Raiders. We're gonna see you in the Super Bowl." And I started thinking, man, how terrible would it be to go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Raiders? You could never live that down, which is as terrible as Raider fans are. And here in LA, it's a big melting pot. There's a lot of different fans, but there's a big Cowboy fan base. There's a big Raider fan base. There's a Ram fan base. But those are the three major ones. There's some 49er fan base here, so it splits up in that way. Man, it would be awful to have to listen to that all day. But never fear. I looked into the future. I'll tell you what. Carr is for real. Man, that kid is nice. He can throw. He's accurate. Michael Crabtree is an underrated receiver. I wish we would have signed him. He's from Texas. We should have brought him home. And Amari Cooper is nice. Nice routes, nice hands. They don't really have a run game. They really don't. And for them to say that their offensive line is the second or better than the Cowboys is a disgrace because it really isn't. And I hate to be like that, but looking at the tape, it just is what it is. That is what it is. Their defense, yes, has some pieces with Khalil and Bruce Irvin, but just to be honest with you, if it came down to it, they'd have to pass all day long, kind of like the Redskins did, and the Redskins are a better pass offense, and I think we'd work them, we'd run the game, and we'd get the W. So we'd have those bragging rights. And that's just by looking at it and looking at the tape and even looking at tonight's game. They rely on that pass. And all their passes are quick stuff. Slant, arrow, slant, little seam to the tight end. And then their run game is a draw. And, it's very predictable. And something that, if you make a break on one of those slants, you go into the house and anything can happen on any given Sunday. But rest assured, if we see that team, if we blessed enough to make it to the Super Bowl, don't get me wrong. Don't think, hey, the Cowboys LA Radio and Eric Trujillo are saying that we're going to the Super Bowl already. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying if we were to make it in a world of ifs, ands, and buts, we would take the Raiders. Absolutely. So whether it happens or not, we're going to have to see that. But never fear. We've looked at the tape, and the tape never lies. The tape never lies. I mean, there's anomalies. There's times where teams can play bad, fumble, weird things like that can happen. But just pound for pound, we are the better team. I'm more concerned with the Patriots. Those guys will give Belichick 2 weeks to prepare for a rookie QB, and then you're going up against Tom Brady, possibly the best QB to ever be. And man, now that's scary, and that's a game that I'm ready to watch. But hey, we got a long way to go. We're still week 14. It's hard to look ahead, but it's just something that within the week and things, I don't know if it happens to you guys, but that's other fans start talking now that we're getting to the playoffs about their team and how they're going to beat us and who we're going to play. But to be honest with you, the teams that I see in the foreseeable future, the Seahawks lost Earl Thomas. That's big. That's like no Super Bowl for you. Big loss. The Falcons, I think that's a team that I'm scared of. Not scared of, but I feel like they would match up well against us. Powerful offense and similar defense to ours. Not too worried about the Lions, to be honest with you. I'm going to look more into it. I'm not worried about the Bucs. I would be more concerned with the Giants, but now with the loss of JPP. In this game, it looks like even Larry Donnell might be out. These are some big injuries that I think we're going to be able to take out. And the Giants might end up dropping a couple of... They have some divisional games left. They might end up dropping a couple of games. And who knows? If they drop 3 of these last 4... that would put them at 7 losses, and that might be enough to take them out of the playoffs. So I would hope, and I hope the same for the Redskins. Those are the teams that I wouldn't want to see again. I feel like those are the 2 teams that would knock us out, and I could see maybe the Falcons doing it, but nobody else. Nobody else can I see beating us. So hopefully we take care of business. These guys missed the playoffs. And we'll see what happens. Hey, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you for listening. The game is Sunday night, 5:25. It's going to be the 3rd game, last game of the night, national TV. Enjoy. Have a great night. Go Cowboys.